Hi everyone, it's Marisa from bumblebeeapothecary.com, and today I am bringing you along for a day in my kitchen. So today we are doing kind of an interesting day in the kitchen. So currently the kitchen does not have countertops. If you've seen a couple of my more recent videos, we have brand new cabinets in, which we're very excited about, but countertops are not in quite yet. And so we are doing our best to prepare meals and everything with no countertops. So I'm going to talk about kind of how we made things work while we basically had no kitchen. So while we were in the middle of the major part of the kitchen renovation, we had no dishwasher, no kitchen sink. That was challenging, so I'm going to kind of talk about how we made that happen with still preparing homemade from scratch, real food, nutrient-dense meals, what that looked like. And then I'm also going to be getting some tasks done in the kitchen that have been needing to happen. So one of the things that I've been needing to do for a little bit is make some sauerkraut, another big batch. So what I really like to do is grow my own cabbages and then make a giant batch in the fall when the cabbages are harvested and make it in my big 5-gallon crock. That hasn't happened for the last couple of years just because last year we didn't do too big of a garden because we were trying to move and we were looking for a place and we had no idea when in the year we were actually going to find a place and need to move. And so we did a little bit of a garden, but not a big one because we didn't know if we were going to be there very long or not. And then also, one of the things that I wanted to do before our new baby came was make a nice big batch of sauerkraut. And that didn't happen. She came over 2 weeks early and everything was good, as many of you saw, but it also meant that there were a few tasks that I hadn't quite gotten to. So one of those was making sauerkraut. And when I don't do it in the big crock, then I just make a bunch of 1/2-gallon jars and do it that way. So what you're going to be seeing today is my just quick, fast, gotta make it happen, simple, no nonsense, we need sauerkraut, so we're gonna make it today method. So I just have some big organic cabbages from the store, my 1/2-gallon glass jars with lids, and I'm just going to start cutting cabbage and shredding it up and packing it into jars. So when I put it into jars, I fill the jar about maybe 1/3 to 1/2 full, and then I go ahead and add some salt. For a 1/2-gallon jar, I like to use 2 tablespoons of salt when I'm putting it together, and I'll end up adding some salt again a little bit later on the top. But I fill it part of the way, pack it down, and then I add 1 of the tablespoons of salt like that. And then I go ahead and fill it the rest of the way with cabbage just below the shoulder. Pack that down really well, and then add another tablespoon of salt. And then I'm not pounding this or letting it sit or anything, so I do end up adding some filtered water, and along with the salt it starts to make kind of a brine like you would with pickles or another fermented vegetable. And I'm okay with that. It works out great. I don't have time in this season of life to sit there and pound sauerkraut. Like I was saying in one of my other videos with the home renovation tasks, is at this season of life, baby is about 2 months old, and so anything that I'm going to be doing is done in little pockets of time here and there with lots of interruptions. And so that's the way that we make this happen. We just find the quickest, easiest method and we make it happen. So that's how I'm doing it. Filling the jar part way, tablespoon of salt, packing it down in there. More cabbage, pack it down, another tablespoon of salt, a little bit of water. So then what I'll do once I have these made is I'll go and set them on a towel, and then I'll watch them, because after about a day they're really gonna bubble up, and some of the liquid sometimes will bubble out and it will kind of rise up. And so what I'll do is I'll take my wooden spoon and I'll press everything down again at that point, try to get it submerged again, and then I usually add another sprinkle of salt and a little bit more water at the top, and then put the lid back on. And then I find that it stays put. It doesn't keep trying to bubble up anymore after that. And then adding that extra salt and water just helps to make sure that everything stays submerged and doesn't mold, and then it's ready to just sit in my pantry until we're ready to use it. But yes, let's go ahead and talk about how we did it when we were cooking with no kitchen. So during our kitchen renovation, when we had no sink, no vent hood, so no vent over the stove, and no dishwasher, we made it work by setting up a little cooking station outside. So on our covered back patio, we set up a card table. I have a plug-in hot plate, so we use that for cooking anything that would need to be on a stove. And then we also have our toaster oven, so we use that whenever something needed to be toasted or cooked in an oven. And just, cooked outside. It was like camping. It was very much like camping. And then for washing dishes, we tried to cut down on how many dirty dishes we were making, so we used paper plates for a while, which I don't love to do a lot of, but they're compostable, and they're just, something that really makes a time like that doable. And it worked. We kept meals simple. We just kept dishes simple, and we made it work. So then also another thing that's funny and interesting and nice about going through a time like that is every time you get each thing back, you appreciate it so much. So the dishes that we needed to wash, we actually washed in the bathroom. We had a little tub and a dish drainer back there and washed our dishes back there. So then the first thing that we got back was our kitchen sink. So then we were like, yes, running water in the kitchen. Oh, and our filtered water. We had to buy bottled water for a little bit because we didn't have our water filter, our under sink water filter. So when we got the sink back, then we hooked up the water filter. We had a kitchen sink, so we had no dishwasher yet, but we could at least wash dishes in the sink, and appreciated it so much. And then we had our filtered water again, and then we got the vent put over top of the stove, and we were able to cook inside on the stove again instead of just outside. And then quite a while later, then the dishwasher came, and we got that in, and we were able to have a dishwasher again. So bit by bit you get all your conveniences back, and then you appreciate each one so much when you get it back. So that's really how we made it work. It was just like camping, and now we're really glad to have everything back, everything except for counters. Those are the last functional thing that we need back. We have our kitchen cabinet hardware on. The backsplash is good to have. I mean, it does have some functionality because it's like protecting that surface, but countertops are going to be really nice to have next. We're going to really enjoy having counters again. So that's why I'm over here on the tables, because we have no counters. So we're just using our table right now for different things. And here we go. Here's our finished batch of sauerkraut. Out of 6 big cabbages, we ended up with 9 half-gallon jars. So that'll last us for a little while. And then I'm going to move these, like I said, over onto a towel where they can do their initial bubbling up, where then I'll need to go in, press everything down again with my wooden spoon, add another sprinkle of salt, some more filtered water, make sure everything stays submerged, put the lid back on, and then they're ready to sit and finish fermenting for a nice long time. After about a week, we'll go ahead and start using the first jar, but it really gets the best the longer that it sits. And I also have the full written recipe and instructions for how I like to make sauerkraut over on my blog, bumblebeeapothecary.com. I'll have the link to that down in the description box. I also have a recipe over on my blog that shows how to make sauerkraut in a crock. So I'll put the link to that as well. And then I also have YouTube videos dedicated to each of those also, and I'll have those in the description box too. Another thing that I wanted to get done today is to soak and dehydrate some more nuts. These are a really nice thing that I like to have on hand, especially during pregnancy and nursing, when you just need to be able to grab something really quickly to be able to eat in between meals, or if you're not quite able to sit down to a meal yet because your hands are full, the baby's crying, baby needs you right then, and you can't get to your breakfast or lunch, you can grab something really fast. And so I like keeping these nuts on hand in the freezer so that I can grab them. So I'm doing pecans and macadamia nuts. I'm just putting them into a bowl, covering them with filtered water and adding some salt, and then I'm going to let them sit for overnight, at least maybe about a full day. And then I will go ahead and drain those, and then I'll dehydrate them in the oven at the lowest temperature that the oven will go. All right, I hope that you enjoyed coming along and seeing what I was doing in my kitchen. Not really my kitchen, my renovated kitchen with no countertops. And hopefully you enjoyed hearing how we got by with no kitchen at all for a while, how we did our cooking and cleanup and different things. Hopefully that was interesting, helpful. If you've been through seasons of life like that, I would love to hear your tips and how you made it work in the comments, so please share what you did. Be sure and check out that description box for links to my sauerkraut recipes for making it in jars, making it in a big crock, and the videos where I show my process for that with complete instructions if you're interested. I also have ebooks down there and some meal plans, different things, links to different things that we like to use. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anybody else who you think would find it interesting or helpful, and if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I get out new videos every week on nourishing recipes and natural living. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.